Hello everyone, welcome to the detailed solution and explanation video of 2017 MSc Botany entrance exam question paper of the Delhi University. This is the second part and we will be finishing the 2017 question paper in this part. Let's start with the question. Which one of the following statement is not true for gibberellin signaling? So the answer will come later. Let's see the explanation first. Gibberellin produced in the scutellum diffused to the aileron cells through receptor recognition in aileron cells where they induce transcription of alpha amylase. Alpha amylase thus produced is secreted in influence of calcium and causes starch hydrolysis in the seed. If you can see the figure on the right hand side, I have not drawn the whole signaling network. I have just drawn a maize kernel to show you that what is an aileron layer and what is the scutellum, and from scutellum the GA is synthesized that diffuse into the aileron layer cells to induce the transcription of alpha amylase. In this, the calcium is used only for the secretion to enhance the alpha amylase secretion and not to promote the alpha amylase gene transcription. For that gene transcription thing, gibberellin is acting. So the answer to this will be that which of the following statement is not true for gibberellin signaling? The third one, that calcium promotes alpha amylase gene transcription. No, the gibberellin actually promotes the transcription of the alpha amylase. Next question, integration of DNA, tDNA in the plant nuclear genome occurs most likely due to. So the answer to this is non-homologous end joining. This tDNA insertion types in plants, in animal as well as in yeast, I have described in my class lecture of plant biotechnology. So if you have already attended that lecture, it will be easy for you. So I will just conclude here with this thing that NHEJ, that is non-homologous end joining, is the usual type that occurs during tDNA insertion in all higher eukaryotes like animal and plants, and homologous recombination applies in most cases to the yeast transformation. Next question, which of the following statement related to the development of insect resistant transgenic plant is correct? Let's read this statement one by one. The targeted insects cannot develop resistance against transgenic plants generated using a single candidate gene. No, this is wrong. It can develop a resistance against a single candidate gene. In fact, to develop a resistant against a single candidate gene is the most easiest way of resistance overcome by the insect. Second option, the transgenic plant developed using multiple or different gene conferring insect resistance would be more effective in inducing and maintaining resistance. Yes, this is just a kind of reason of the first one, first option. So this statement is correct, because if we will use multiple gene resistance, then the insect will take then it will be hard for the insect to overcome the resistance. Hence B option is correct. So the answer to this is B. Let's see the other two option also. The level of transgene expression does not influence the efficacy of the transgenic plant. No, it influences the efficacy of the transgenic plant. More is the copy number of the transgene, more will be the resistance provided, because the transgene product will be more in that case. The transgenes fuses to a reporter gene are usually more effective in inducing insect resistance. The fourth option, no, because the reporter gene is only used to know that the transgene has been successfully inserted into our genome, because the reporter gene generally the neomycin phosphotransferase or HPT etc., or if we have visual reporter like GUS or GFP, they just show that they are just alongside our insert or the gene of interest. They just verify that our gene of interest is inserted into the genome. So the answer is second, as we discussed. Next question. A cloning experiment was designed to insert a DNA fragment in a BAM-H1 restriction site of a plasmid vector that contained the ampicillin resistance and tetracycline resistant gene. For resistant to the antibiotics ampicillin and tetracycline respectively, it was observed that all the positive clones containing the fragment of interest grow on ampicillin but not on tetracycline containing media. The colonies which do not contain the fragment of interest grew on both the antibiotics. Which one of the following statement would potentially explain the observation? So the answer to this is B. that is BAMH1 site was located in tetracycline gene. Why? Because upon transformation with the insert, the when the BAMH1 site was used, the tetracycline gene of the plasmid was disrupted, so the all the transformed colonies were able to grow on ampicillin but not on tetracycline, and the non-transformed colony which were not having the insert, but which were having the insert as well as plasmid, but the insert was not integrated into the plasmid, those were able to successfully grow on the media containing both ampicillin and tetracycline, because the plasmid amp and tet sites were intact. This you can see with the diagram that I have made on the next slide. So this was the plasmid with ampicillin and tetracycline. This plasmid has to be linearized by BAMH1 so that it has sticky ends for cloning the BAMH1 site having insert. And insert I have shown the top with two BAMH1 site. Now when the insert, now there are two types of, after the cloning experiment is finished, there will be two types of recombinant, the one which are non-recombinant and other one which are recombinant. So the recombinant plasmid is having resistance only on the ampicillin but not on tetracycline. That means the BAMH1 site was actually in the present in the tetracycline part of the plasmid, but the non-recombinant one which do not undergo cloning properly, so in that case the plasmid is still intact, so colonies that do not contain the fragment of interest, that is remain non-transformed, grow on ampicillin and tetracycline. So the answer was that integration of the insert into the plasmid led to the disruption of the tetracycline resistant gene, because the tet site was present in the BAMH1 site. Next question, which one of the following combination is not a correct match? So we know that TI plasmid is obtained from Agrobacterium tumefaciens. So this is not the correct match. That is answer B. Next question, the development of transgenic golden rice is expected to help children suffering from night blindness by introducing genes that increase the production of. So the answer is beta carotene. The golden rice is genetically engineered to biosynthesize beta carotene in the edible part of rice by the addition of 3 beta carotene biosynthesis gene. Beta carotene is a precursor of vitamin A. Normal rice plant usually have beta carotene in its leaf for photosynthesis but not in the seed endosperm. But golden rice has vitamin A enriched seed endosperm. For detail on the pathway exploited for golden rice, refer my explanation of question number 67 of 2014 paper explanation. Next question, the type of vascular bundles where the primary phloem is surrounded by the primary xylem is known as, the answer to this will be amphicribal bundles. Let's see what are amphicribal and amphivasal. These are the types of concentric vascular bundles. The concentric vascular bundles are the one in which one vascular bundle type surrounds the other one completely. There are of two types, amphivasal or leptocentric, in which the phloem is inside and xylem outside. Example, Yucca and Raceana. And amphicribal or heterocentric, in which the phloem is outside, xylem is inside. For example, Pteris, Selaginella, Hydrilla, etc. So you can see the arrangement of phloem and xylem in this figure which I have drawn for the amphicribal and the amphivasal vascular bundle. Next question, misogynous mode of stomatal development refer to the formation of. So this is also a tough question as per the graduation level, because we generally do not study the developmental stages of stomata. So the developmental mode of stomata. So misogynous mode actually is actually initiate what we call refers to the formation of stoma and the subsidiary cells from the same protodermal initial. Let's see, there are some types of mode of stomatal development. The misogynous means the subsidiary cells completely flank the guard cell so that no other cell is around the guard cells. The stoma and the subsidiary cell arise from the same initial cell. That is why our answer is A. Then comes the next one, mesoperigenous mode of stomatal development, in which the cells surrounding the guard cells have a dual origin, some being formed from the same initial while the others are perigenous in origin. Now comes the perigenous mode of stomatal development, in which a protodermal cell convert into the guard cell mother cell and divides to form the two guard cells. The subsidiary cells are formed from the cells surrounding the guard cells. Next question, desiccation tolerant plant that can change their body structure and function according to the availability of water are called. So the answer, the explanation I have already shown here. The answer is poikilohydric plant. Poikilohydric plants can equilibrate with the relative humidity of the air during drought period by changing their body structure and function, and exhibit complete physiological recovery upon rehydration. Next question, in seed plants, lateral root originate from. So this is a question of 12th standard, and the answer is lateral root arises endogenously from the pericycle and grow out through the cortex and the epidermis. Next question, which one of the following statement is not correct? So the answer is D actually, that the fascicular cambium is generally present in monocot. This is not correct, because in dicot stem the intrafascicular cambium or simply the fascicular cambium is present between xylem and phloem, so it is not present in the monocot. Next question, medullary bundles appears due to the activity of. So the medullary bundles appear due to the activity of successive cambia. Like this successive cambia formation I have already explained in my earlier lectures, where I have explained the formation of successive cambia in Borrevia. It is if you want to go and read that, it is from question number 96 of 2014 question paper. Now next question, vessels are present in the xylem of Selaginella, Oryza and Mangifera. Which of the following statement regarding vessels is correct? So Selaginella belongs to pteridophyte, Oryza is a monocot plant and Mangifera is a dicot plant. So vessels in Selaginella and Mangifera are similar and perform the same function, thereby they are called homologous. No, because similar structure origin but differ in their function are called as homologous. So this is wrong. Next question is, next option is vessels in Oryza and Mangifera descended from a common ancestor and perform the same function, therefore they are convergent. No, this is also wrong, because the if they would have descended from a non-common or non-related ancestor, but now they are performing the same function, then it is called as convergent evolution. So C option is correct. Vessels in Oryza and Mangifera descended from a common ancestor, therefore they are homologous, obviously. And the D option is vessels in Selaginella and Mangifera are dissimilar and perform the same function, therefore they result from parallel evolution. No, now here this is convergent evolution, because they are dissimilar and but perform the same function, therefore it is a convergent evolution. So the our answer which is correct is the third one, that is vessels in Oryza and Mangifera descended from a common ancestor, therefore they are homologous. Next question, a specimen or other element is selected to serve as nomenclature type when all the material on which the name of the taxon are based is missing. The specimen is called as neotype. C option. For solution, please see the part 3 video of 2014 question paper. Solution is at time around 2 minutes 30 seconds. The link for the video is also shared below in the description box of this video. Next question, which one of the following statement is not correct? All taxonomic keys are dichotomous. Correct. In a taxonomic key, the two leads together form a couplet. Yes, this is also correct. Then option C, all key comprises sequence of two contrasting statements. Each statement is known as a lead. This is also correct. And D, polyclave keys are not based on morphological characters. No, this is wrong, because polyclave key includes a large number of characters, including the morphological characters also. Let's read a little bit about polyclave key. The polyclave keys are multiple access keys, commonly computer aided and represented in tabular matrix or formula printed form. They work on the principle of elimination, that is, you take all the characters and eliminate the one which do not match while select the one which matches. Next question, acronym of Botanical Society of India, Dehradun Herbarium is. Now this question answer I was also not knowing. One of my friend Dr. Virendra Kumar Madhukar came for my rescue. He is a professor right now at Gorakhpur University, and he has completed his PhD from Botanical Survey of India, Dehradun, in collaboration with Banaras Hindu University. So he provided me with the answer explanation, and the answer is that BSD stand for Botanical Survey Dehradun. Cal, that is the Botanical Survey of India, Havra. It was named Calcutta Herbarium. during Britishers' time. That acronym stands till date. DD is acronym for FRI herbarium. Herbarium spelling is wrong. Okay. LWG for NBRI Lucknow. Previously it was named Lucknow Garden. On that basis, it is acronym is LWG. Next question. In Cythium, the male flowers are represented by. So answer is a single stamen. This is again a repetition of previous year question paper. So I have just taken explanation from my previous videos. So Cythium inflorescence, you can see the diagram on the right. So you can just relate whatever is written to the diagram on the right. Cythium inflorescence found in member of family Euphorbiaceae, example Euphorbia, Pediolinthus, etc. The inflorescence has a cup-shaped involucre with glands that secrete nectar. The involucre surrounds a single female flower pistil which is present on a long stalk in the center. You can see that in this diagram. The female flower is surrounded by a number of male flowers. The male flower is reduced to a single stalked stamen. So our answer is first one, a single stamen. Next question. When the male, female and bisexual flower occurs on separate plants, the condition is known as. So the answer is polygamodioecious. Let's see all of them. Dichogamy is when the stamen and pistil mature at different time so that self-fertilization is prevented. Gynodioecious means the female and hermaphroditic plants coexist within a population. Polygamomonoecious refers to the sexual condition of a plant that bears male, female and bisexual flowers, and polygamodioecious refers to the sexual condition of presence of male, female and bisexual flower on separate plants. Next question. Which one of the following pair of plant structure has haploid set of chromosome? So this is a very common question. We know out of these options that X cell and antipodal cell along with present in the ovule are having haploid set of chromosome. Next question. Which one of the following is not a correct explanation of cross pollination? So I've already written which one is the cross pollination. So first and second actually defines the cross pollination, and the third type is just a cross pollination type, the Geitonogamy, which we call. And but the D option, the pollen grain of one flower are transferred to the stigma of the same flower, this is actually self pollination. So answer D is wrong. Next question. Malacophily refers to the pollination by. So the answer is B, that is snails and slug. When they pollinate, then it is called as, the term used is called as malacophily. Next question. In bisexual flower, maturation of anthers before the attainment of stigma receptivity is termed as. So the answer is A, B, protandry. Let's see all the four options. So hercogamy is the occurrence of anther and the stigma at different levels in a flower, and is a common strategy employed by the bisexual or angiosperm to reduce sexual interference within and promote cross-pollination. Two types are there: approach hercogamy, in which the stigma is above the level of the anther, and reverse hercogamy, in which the stigma is below the level of the anther. So dichogamy refers to the maturation of anthers and stigma of same flower at different times. It promotes cross-pollination even in the bisexual species. It is of two types: protogyny, when pistil mature before anthers, for example in pearl millet, and protandry, when anthers, that is pollen grain, mature before pistil, for example maize, sugar beet, etc. Then comes the flower constancy. Flower constancy is the tendency of pollinators to specifically visit a particular flower species and not visiting other flower species in the vicinity, even if those flowers are more rewarding, that is they contain more nectar, still it will leave those flower and it will always go specifically to a particular flower types. So that is called a flower constancy by the pollinator. Next question. Elyosome arise as an outgrowth of. So elaiosomes arise as an outgrowth of raphe or hilum. You can see the structure of raphe on the right hand side, and then you can see how elyosome look over the seed and how ant is attracted toward that elyosome and it takes the seed towards wherever it lives for feeding its young ones. So elysosomes are lipid and protein rich fleshy structure that are attached to the seeds of many plant species. They are an outgrowth of either the raphe or the hilum of the ovule. Elaiosomes containing seeds are taken away by the ants. The ants take these seed to feed elyosome to their larvae. After the larvae consume the elyosome, the ants take the seed to their waste disposal area, which is organic nutrient rich from the dead ant bodies or other material, and hence aid in seed germination. This mode of seed dispersal through the ant is termed as myrmecory. Next question. Multiple embryo formation due to splitting and proliferation of zygotic embryo is termed. This is called as cleavage polyembryony. The cleavage polyembryony is when the embryo is split into several identical parts, each capable of developing and proliferating into a mature embryo. It is very common in gymnosperm, particularly in Pinus. Next question. Nicotiana tabacum is a natural hybrid of, so this is just a fact-based question. Nicotiana tabacum is a natural hybrid of Nicotiana sylvestris and Nicotiana otophora. Next question. Gynophore is a characteristic feature of. So the answer is Arachis hypogea. The peanut plant or Arachis hypogea produces aerial flowers, but it is able to sow its own seeds as a result of the growth of a specialized organ called gynophore. A gynophore is the prolongation in the stalk of certain flowers, elevating the gynoecium above the branching point of other floral parts. So the answer is gynophore is characteristic feature of Arachis hypogea. Next question. Which one of the following is not a polyploid? So the answer is Brassica nigra. Let's see the ploidy level of all other Brassica species. So Brassica carinata is polyploid. 2n equals to 34. The genome size is around 1300 MB. Brassica napus is polyploid. 2n equals to 34. The genome size is 1130 MB. Brassica juncea is also polyploid. 2n equals to 36. The genome size is 1100 MB. While Brassica nigra is diploid, it is having a 2n equals to 16 and a genome size of around 630 MB. So answer we already discussed it. It is Brassica nigra is not a polyploid, it is just a diploid. Next question. Reddish yellow pigment found in saffron is. So the answer is crocin. This is very like if you don't know this answer, you will obviously mark the anthocyanin or some other, but you will never mark crocin. I know that. So reddish yellow pigment found in saffron is called as crocin. So saffron is the world most costly spice. Its taste and smell is due to phytochemical picrocrocin and saffronal. Its rich golden reddish yellow color is due to carotenoid pigment crocin. Next question. Fuel cured, fire cured and air cured are classes of. So this is the use for tobacco. One important thing is it is not fuel cured, it is flue cured. The question has spelled it wrong. It is flue cured. Tobacco is generally cured after harvesting before its consumption. The curing is generally for reducing the chlorophyll content and slow oxidation and degradation of carotenoid. This gives a aromatic and characteristic flavor to the tobacco. Curing can be done through air, fire, flue, sun and by fermentation. Next question. Which one of the following statement is correct? So these are very general statement and we know that wood is a poor conductor of electricity. So this is second one is the right answer. Next question. A flagellum with two rows of mastigonemes with a terminal fibril is known as. So the answer is B, that is pentachronematic. Let's see the various types. The types I have drawn on the base. You can see anematic. I have included one more: anematic, acronematic, pentonematic, pentachronematic, and stichonematic. So anematic refers to a simple no lateral appendages having a terminal naked filament. Acronematic has no lateral appendages. A terminal naked filament represents the end of the axoneme. Then pentonematic, two or more rows of lateral appendages. Then pentachronematic, two or more rows of lateral appendages and the axoneme ends in an axial naked filament terminally. And then comes the stichonematic, only one row of lateral appendages. So you can just relate them to the figure. Next question. The middle layer in the oogonial wall of Fucalian algae is known as. This is also a tough question. The answer is mesochide. In Fucalian algae, example Fucus, the mature oogonium contains 8 haploid eggs arranged in a characteristic manner. Structurally, the wall of oogonia in Fucus is composed of 3 layers: the exochide, thin outer layer, the mesocyte, thick middle layer, and endocyte, thin inner layer. When mature, the exocyte ruptures, releasing the packet of eggs, still surrounded by two wall layer which remain within the conceptacle. So the answer is mesocyte because they are asking about the middle layers. Next question, which one of the following describe alginic acid? So alginic acid, also called as algin, is a water soluble polysaccharide made up of sulfate esters and fucose and is distributed widely in the cell wall of brown algae, making it hydrophilic, and upon hydration forms a viscous gum-like structure. So the answer is B, that is water soluble sulfated polysaccharide characterized by the presence of sulfate ester and L-fucose. Next question, epipelic algae are those which inhabit. So answer is rock fissures. Epipelic algae refers to the algae that grow on sedimentary rocks or voids of clay or silt dried rocks. They mostly flourish well at the interface of water and sediments. Next question, in Floridian rhodophytes, a cell that affects transfer of the zygotic nucleus from the fertilized carposporangium to the cell that ultimately forms carposporophyte is known as, the answer is connecting cell. The rhodophytes and the carpogonial branch uh, the rhodophyte has the carpogonial branch that consists of a basal cell, a hypogonous cell, and a carpogonium. After fertilization, the trichogyne serve and shrivels. The zygote nucleus is transferred from the fertilized carposporangium by a connecting cell array to the precursor cell of carposporophyte. So the answer will be B. A connecting cell array is used for that. Next question, which one of the following is not true for Oomycota? So the answer is third one, because they are saying that in the C option that it store food in the form of glycogen, lipid, and trehalose. No, because it has food in the form of mycolaminarin, lipids, and polyphosphate. These are the food reserve in Oomycota. Next question, in Albugo candida, the sporangiophores are. Out of these three options, the C option, that is club shaped, is correct. And you can see the diagram on the right hand side which I have drawn, and you can easily see the sporangiophore, the club shaped sporangiophore as they looks like. And then they at the end they start bearing sporangia with that are connected through a connective. Next question, the only group among Eumycota that produces motile zoospore is. So the answer is Chytridiomycota. The Chytridiomycota, or chytridids as we call them, are very unique among all other Eumycota members fungi, since they have a motile stage in their life cycle. They are the only fungi having this. The motile stage is represented by a zoospores, which is single celled and having a flagellum posteriorly. Next question, which one of the following is not a characteristic feature of basidiomycetes? So the answer is crozier formation, because crozier formation is seen in ascomycetes and not in basidiomycetes. It is an anatomical structure formed at the base of asci and looks like a terminal hooked religious croziers. Next question, cyclosporin, an immunosuppressant drug, is produced by. So the answer to this question is this Tolypocladium inflatum, because cyclosporin is produced by submerged fragmentation of Trichoderma polysporum, now currently identified as Tolypocladium inflatum, which is an aerobic fungi. And the drug is the drug that is obtained from this fungus, the Tolypocladium inflatum, is a calcineurin inhibitor and hence used as an immunosuppressant. Which one of the following pair is not correctly matched? So the answer option C, that is black rust of wheat, is not correctly matched because it is caused by Puccinia graminis triticale. Next question, the pathogen associated with discovery of Bordeaux mixture is. So the answer is Plasmopara viticola. The Millardet at Bordeaux University in France accidentally observed that copper sulfate is effective against the fungus Plasmopara viticola, which causes downy mildew of grapes. Since then, the Bordeaux mixture, also called as Bordeaux mix, is used As a fungicide, it is a mixture of copper sulfate and slaked lime. Next question, sporophyte is not differentiated into food seta and capsule in. So the sporophyte of Riccia is simplest, very primitive type among the bryophyte and is a single globular capsule-like. Food seta and elyters are completely absent. The sporophytic capsule containing the spore mother cell is completely embedded in the upper surface of the gametophytic thallus. For diagram, please refer my explanation of question number 21 of 2015 question paper. You will see a very colorful diagram of sporocarp also. Which one of the following character is shared by Anthoceros and Sphagnum? So the answer is B. This is a common fact kind of statement that both Anthoceros and Sphagnum has an amphithecium that develops into the sporogenous tissue, assimilatory layer, and epidermis. So the option B is correct. This is very usual question. Next question, in gymnosperms, nutrition to the embryo is provided by. So the answer is female gametophyte. In the gymnosperm, the female gametophyte develops in the nucleus tissue and stores food. The zygote undergo free nuclear division and forms the proembryo. During embryogenesis, the gametophyte grows continuously and accumulate food material which are used by the embryo or remain as reserves in the seed. Next question, in Selaginella, the male gametophyte is. So the answer is C, that is extremely reduced to a prothelial cell and antheridium. In Selaginella, the sperms are smallest compared to any vascular plant. The development of male gametophyte is endosporic. That is, it develops inside the microspore wall. The gametophyte is an extremely reduced structure represented just by a prothelial cell and antheridium. So the option C. Next question, in some pteridophytes, the leaves are called microphyllous because, so they are asking about microphyllous and macrophyllous leaves. Let's read a little bit about them. Although the answer is C, we will come to the answer again. The pteridophyte differ by their leaf structure and are of two types, megaphyllous and microphyllous. Microphyllous leaves have a single unbranched vein that originate from protostele and do not have a leaf gap, whereas megaphyll leaves have multiple veins and contain leaf gaps. So the answer C says about microphyllous leaf that they are traversed by single unbranched midrib and leaf traces and do not leave any leaf gaps in the stem stele. Hence the option C is correct. Next question, vegetative propagation in cycas in nature is facilitated through. So the answer is bulbils. Vegetative propagation in cycas occurs by bulbils which develop from the axil of the scale leaves. Bulbils are oval with broad base narrowing towards the apex. They have a spiral arrangement of scaly leaves around them, and upon detachment from the main plant, the bulbil germinates, producing roots on the lower surface and the leaves on the upper side surface. Next question, frog oocyte arrested in the G2 phase of meiosis can be triggered to enter M phase by. So again, I don't know, they do not have a question on reproductive biology of angiosperm or what. They always shift from botany to zoology, and they are asking here that what out of these what can be used for triggering the cell arrest in the G2 phase of meiosis so that it enters into the M phase in case of frog oocyte. So the answer here is progesterone. This has a long explanation of its interaction, that is the interaction of progesterone with the cyclin B1. So I just think that answering here is okay, that progesterone, that is C option is correct. Explanation is not needed. Which of the following is not a signature event of programmed cell death? So the answer here is loss of cell membrane integrity, because apoptosis or programmed cell death have characteristic cell changes morphology that leads to cell death. These changes includes chromatin condensation, blebbing or plasma membrane bulging, actomyosin contraction of the cortex, nuclear fragmentation, and chromosomal DNA fragmentation and cell shrinkage. So all other options are there, but loss of cell membrane integrity is not correct. So this brings us to the end of this video. In the next video, I will be giving the detailed solution and explanation of the MSc Botany entrance question paper of 2018. If you have any doubt in the solution, please do comment. Please like the video and do comment and subscribe to appreciate my work. And stay tuned for more upcoming solution videos of various MSc entrance exams related to biological sciences.